All right, welcome back in. We're going to go through this second part here. We're finally ready for it. So it's part 2 of these notes here. You should be writing this stuff down. Pause the video if you need to. We're starting off with a similarity statement. We're given this similarity statement here. It says triangle ABD is similar to triangle CFE. Okay, when you are given a similarity statement, when you're given that and you're given the triangles, the first thing that I want you to do, and this is just a great technique, is to work on highlighting corresponding sides so we can match things up appropriately. Okay. Now I mentioned before that the order of those letters matter. And so what they tell you is which sides and which angles are going to be corresponding, okay, or congruent for the angles. So because A and B were the first two letters there, I know that side AB is going to be corresponding to CF, okay? So what I can do in my small little triangle here, I can highlight AB, and then I can highlight CF, okay? You don't want to just go by looks, all right? You don't want to just go by what you think. You want to follow the similarity statement, okay? Because sometimes it can be really deceiving. So then the other one would be DB. I just picked another side. So D and B were the last two letters. And so those last two letters would be, and that's FE. So, okay, that's FE down here, all right? So we're highlighting that. We're doing this to save us some time later on. So if you got those colored pencils out or crayons or whatever, you want to be spending some time making sure you're matching up those sides. Because now when I'm doing this problem, I've got all these visual cues for me to match some things up. Ultimately, I want to solve for X, all right? And that really helps me dial that part in. Okay, so similarity, let's see. So these two triangles are related. We know they're similar because we're told from the similarity statement. We've highlighted the sides. We have some other information in there about angles, okay? You can see two of the angles of the matchup. We know this third angle is congruent. You don't have to match that up, but we do know that this third angle is going to be congruent to one another. We could actually find it. That won't help us solve the problem. I'm looking for X, okay? I'm looking for solving for that blue side in the big triangle. And a fact in similar triangles is one is just a bigger version of the other one. Okay, so there's a proportionality there. And so we can use some information about these two triangles that's given to us to solve for X. Okay, we're given this side over here 8 centimeters, and we're given this 6, that should have said 6 centimeters, that's my fault. So I know 8 over 6, that proportionality will be the same, will be equal to X over 5. All right, so what did I just do? I just wrote a proportion. Okay, that's what that is. My advice to you is to actually start not by writing that part. If you have it down, you can leave it, but by writing X first. My advice to you is to start with X first, divided by its corresponding side on the other triangle. So find X wherever it is, if that's what you're looking for, divided by whichever corresponding side. So I know it's the blue side, X over 5. It will be easier for you to solve these problems when X is in the numerator. If it's in the denominator, you can do it, but it's a little bit trickier. So this saves you some time. And then since I picked X, well, X was part of the big triangle, so I'm going to pick another side in the big triangle, which would be 8. And then 8 was on the red side, divided by the small triangle, 6. It's the same thing, I just rearranged the terms. I had 8/6 equals X over 5. It's the same exact thing. So if you start with that, it'll make your life easier. And now what I'm doing is I'm just solving for X. So what I need to do, I can ignore all the triangle part for this, and I'm just solving for X. We did some problems like this before. What this is saying on the left here is X divided by 5 is the same as or equal to 8 divided by 6. So there's a strategy for getting rid of this divide by 5, and that is, I guess I'll write it in blue. I'll do times 5. When I multiply times 5 on the left, what happens immediately is those two cancel out, leaving me with 1. Because that's a times 5, and I already had the divide by 5. So divide by 5 and times 5 cancel to make 1. I have to do that to the other side as well. So this is times 5 on the right side. So what happens there? Well, X is still there on the left side. That's good. So I still have X. It's 1X, but we never write the 1, right? So then we have 8 over 6 times 5. Now you can type that in your calculator if you want, but really what's happening is 5 is getting multiplied times 8. And this is really 5 over 1, and the 1 gets multiplied times 6, which doesn't change. So you can just think of it as taking the 5 and multiplying it times just the 8. Let me rewrite that. Okay, so that becomes 8 times 5, which is 40, over 6. A lot of students accidentally make the mistake and they multiply 5 times both the numerator and denominator. Just multiply times the numerator. We end up with 40 over 6. That's going to be a gross answer. If you type it into your calculator, you'll get some decimal. So let's just work on simplifying it. If you look at 40 and 6, they're both even numbers. So we know we can take each number and divide by 2, and we'll get a nice clean answer. If I divide both those by 2, I get 20 over 3. And I cannot continue to divide it anymore. 20 can't be divided by 3 evenly. They don't have any more common factors, so I'm going to leave my answer just like this. And I believe it was in centimeters, even though I forgot the units earlier. But that would be how you set up a proportion and solve. Set up a proportion and solve. So don't forget the steps there. Start with the similarity statement, highlight the sides, write your proportion, and solve. It's very repetitive, but that's like the way to do it, all right? I got one more example video that I'll do next that hopefully will help.